Our friend Kyle Kalinske from Secular Talk talked about this really just bogus and bizarre interview that Hillary Clinton's campaign manager gave. Let's go to Kyle's coverage of it and the clip, and then I have some thoughts.
Hillary Clinton's campaign manager went on CNN, and he wanted to remind us of how perfect she is.
People don't like the idea of money going to the Clinton Foundation in exchange for access to the then former Secretary of State. I mean, you can understand why that would trouble people.
Absolutely, and it's not true. I'm glad you raised the question because people should understand that never took place. Secretary Clinton always met the highest ethical standards when she was Secretary of State, when she was United States Senator. There were systems put in place to prevent exactly what you're talking about. And again, the Russians illegally stole these emails. They're selectively dumping them out. I can't even verify whether the actual content in them is real. But this is the conversation they want us to have versus how Hillary's going to create jobs.
No, those things are linked. Those things are related. What he's explaining there is, hey, she takes a lot of money from these people and then she does favors for them. And he's like, well, that's distracting from what she's going to do in office. No, that's raising a concern about what she might do in office. If she's taking money from all these special interests, she's going to do the bidding of those special interests and snub the constituents. He's like, no, that's you're distracting from this. She has the highest ethical standards. Excuse you? But see, this is what I'm so averse to, and this is why I have to keep doing these stories on Hillary Clinton and how shitty she is. Is that, like, it's one thing if you come out there and you say, hey, man, let me make a well-reasoned, lesser of two evils arguments for you, and explain how, whether or not you like it, it's going to either be Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton that wins. Like, that's what's going to happen, whether or not you acknowledge it. Whether or not you acknowledge it is irrelevant. That's what's going to happen. So, hey, here's why Hillary Clinton is better, and let me lay it out in detail. Let me explain all the areas where she's wrong and terrible. Let me pull an Eminem from 8 Mile and explain everything wrong about my candidate. And then explain to you why it's still the right thing to go in that direction. But people aren't doing that. And I get it. This is her campaign manager, so he's going to try to pretend like she's the best thing ever. But it's so disingenuous that you go, oh, I don't trust anything you say about anything ever because I know you're lying to me. You're lying to everybody's face with this.
So I think Kyle's making a really good point here. And people know, if you watch this show, that I've made abundantly clear that I am not some Hillary Clinton cheerleader, that I have made one of these calculations where I've looked at Gary Johnson and I've looked at Jill Stein, and I've made a combination of a sort of practical assessment and an assessment of the policies and qualifications to even hold this position. And I've decided I'm going to vote for Hillary Clinton, not because Hillary Clinton being the next president is some big progressive rah-rah, we won and now everything's going to be super liberal and great, but merely because Hillary Clinton as president is the most likely scenario that would open the door to progressives pushing for more progressive policies, which I believe the country is more primed to do than in the last 100+ years. However, what really bothers me about Robbie Mook going on CNN and saying Hillary Clinton has the highest ethical standards. Listen, maybe Hillary Clinton didn't deliberately do something that she knew was obfuscating and I guess sketchy, to use a term, right? Forget about illegal with the email server, but just she was trying to sort of shield whatever, right? We don't know for sure. Maybe she did, maybe she didn't. We're not talking about the FBI illegality investigation into the illegality of it now. But why go to the hyperbole where you say, this is the person with the highest ethical standards of anyone that I've ever seen? It just doesn't make it believable. And that's exactly why I think, although I disagree, I think Kyle is voting for Jill Stein. I'm not totally sure, but I believe he is. Last I heard, he was voting for Jill Stein. I'm not voting for Jill Stein. I'm voting for Hillary Clinton. Neither of our votes is really going to matter. If I voted for Jill Stein in Massachusetts, Hillary's going to win. If Kyle voted for Hillary Clinton or Jill Stein in New York, Hillary's going to win. Not going to make a difference electorally. But I completely agree with what Kyle is saying, which is when you show up on CNN and in the midst of real controversy over the emails, fine, FBI investigation, not illegal. But still, it is a controversy and it is something that is concerning to say, oh, there's nothing here at all. This is the most ethical person, period, with the highest standards. It makes it so that I just don't believe anything Robbie Mook says. And generally, even if you're talking about surrogates on the left or right, whether it's Kellyanne Conway or Robbie Moog or whoever, these are the paid shills, right? If you're saying, oh, David Pakman is a paid shill because of his comments about Hillary Clinton, number one, I'm certainly not getting paid for talking about Hillary Clinton. And number two, my support for Hillary Clinton is very conditional, and it is very, very specific in terms of what I think would be achieved through a Clinton presidency. So I completely sympathize with Kyle here, and I think his analysis is absolutely spot on. You can check out the entire clip over on Kyle's channel by using the link in the description for this video.